All right, it is 1 o'clock, so let's go ahead and get started. How's everyone doing today? Good? Yeah? Tired? Well, it's good to see y'all here, and hopefully everybody having a wonderful week. I'm having a pretty good week. It's been a little bit crazy too. Let me go ahead and share my screen really quick. Yeah, it's been a little bit crazy. I was telling some of the students that unfortunately we had a couple people like resign from the coffee shop, but just mostly due to scheduling issues. They wanted night shifts, but we're not open at night, which is really important because lifestyle and your current like things in life have to match your work schedule, right? So unfortunately, I would love to keep them, but I can't open until 11 p.m. So we close at 4. So we had to originally so unfortunately they had to go. But that was your choice, by the way. But what is it? That's okay. We can always find more people, right? And they're always a valued part of the team. Anyways, so just to kind of jump right in, so a couple of really important announcements I got to go over. So project one is officially due now. Okay, if you have not submitted project one, and I want to just make sure I'm really, really clear about this because I don't want anybody to mess this up. If you mess this up, your project gets deleted. Okay, so just make sure you do this right. So it is officially due. If it is not inside of the project folder at this point, it is officially late and you have to put it in the late projects folder. Okay. I can see all the times of where people last open, like under right here. So please don't try to like cheat. I have just deleted files before and people are like, oh, I did put it on time. I always screen cap all the late ones. So that way, if somebody like wants to try to gaslight me, I send that back to them. Yes. Uh, I guess for emergency situation people, like this is like due to like family emergency, especially where you may have had an extension, the folder should still be there. So you can just throw it into like the project folder. Whereas like for everyone else, like if there wasn't a certain circumstance that gave you like an extension, then like that would go into the late folder now. So like for anybody who like does have a specific situation that they've talked to me about previously and we work things out, like you can just put it in the normal folder. Hopefully that answered your question though. Awesome. Any other questions? Awesome. Okay. For the Adobe Illustrator stuff, here's what I'll do. I don't have time to grade it when I get back home. I'm probably going to grade it tomorrow. So if you still haven't finished your Adobe Illustrator exercises, I will take them up until tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Okay. So if you haven't finished it, you have a little bit more time to work on that now. But for the projects, I absolutely need them because like I need to get started grading them. You should get your project grades back by next Wednesday. Okay, if you submit it on Wednesday, you'll get it back on Wednesday. If you submit on Thursday, you'll get it back on Thursday or earlier. But it's usually a 1 week turnaround time or earlier for that. Anybody have any questions about that? Yes. That's a good question. So for tomorrow, as long as it's like in before 11:59, it's 1 day late. And once it hits 12 a.m., like the second day, then it's automatically 2 days late. And if you need a little bit more time to do your work, then like I will take it up until Friday 9 a.m. Like I'm not gonna grade them at 12 a.m. like Friday. That's like I don't know, I want to go to sleep. Right? So like if you need to pull like one last all-nighter, you have until like Friday at 9 a.m. to give me the assignment for 2 days late. But great question. Yes, Alyssa. What's up? So it's officially 1 day late now. So it's Thursday for tomorrow, and then 2 days late. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're right. Saturday 9 a.m. My bad. So yeah. So Friday is 2 days late. So I'll accept it up until Saturday at 9 a.m. for 2 days late. Thank you so much. Oh, sorry, y'all. I'm a little tired, but I appreciate the help. Any other questions? Awesome. Okay. Other than that, today we are going to start Photoshop. I would like everybody to just like, so I uploaded the packet over here for y'all, so y'all can go ahead and start downloading that. I also uploaded my brushes. We're not going to be going over that until later on. If you want to download it early, you're welcome to. But I am not answering any questions about brushes until we get to that. So if you have questions about that, like you just got to wait, okay? Or you can ask me during break time, but don't ask me during like the other exercises because it's really disruptive and it doesn't make sense to like talk about them now. But if you want to download the packet first, y'all can download the packet first. Otherwise, So we have an extra credit assignment that's due today. And for those of y'all who finished your assignment, your projects, if you did post for today's Galleria, you will get a little bit of extra credit. So in a little bit, I'm gonna go ahead and see like in the morning, like we didn't have, so yeah, we didn't have anybody. Oh, nice, we got some people. Excellent, excellent. So we'll go ahead and take a look at these in a bit. But anybody have any questions about anything that we just talked about before we move on with the class? Yes, Dominic.
As for the Illustrator packet, there's only 6 of them, right?
Six assignments?
Yeah,
From what I remember, yeah, there wasn't that many. Let me double check for you.
just need to make sure that we're
Here, I'll check right now. The summer has like way less than the normal one, so like I can't remember the exact number, but yeah, we can go ahead and check that just to be really sure. Five.
for the essential.
Yeah, so there's 6 of them in here, or with there's 5 in here for the pen tool, and then for this one, yeah, there's only 6 because we deleted number 6. So we're not doing the knife tool one, so don't do that one, y'all. So it's 1 to 7, but without number 6. Good question. Any other questions? Awesome. Okay. Let's go ahead and do the Galleria first. Oh, and then next Monday, I want to have an optional project 2 critique. So if you wanted to show your progress for project 2, which by the way, I know some people don't know how to digital paint yet, work on pen and paper, pencil paper, like traditional if you don't know how to use digital. Okay. If you know how to use digital, you're welcome to get started like doing more stuff, but don't like procrastinate. Like I always get people who, again, I think I mentioned this a lot. There's always somebody who's like, oh, I didn't want to work on it until I knew how to use Photoshop. That's not how the world works. Okay. Like you got to get yourself prepared for everything. And I mean, like for those of you who want a corporate job, like it is really hardcore. Okay. Like expect to work overtime, expect to have multiple projects. Usually like in class, I only give about 10 thumbnails, expect to do around 30 to 100, like when you're at a corporate, like it's a lot of work and you're going to have meetings too, right? And sometimes you're going to work from home and have meetings from home. For those of you who want your own business, it is incredibly difficult to have your own business, whether it be like what I'm doing, which is a coffee shop, or if you're having your own art business, right? Which is also what I'm doing in terms of commissions. You know, like this is a full-time thing. Like if you are slacking off or like procrastinating or not managing your time well, and I think this isn't just for artists, this is just for professionals in general. Learning to time manage is a really important thing, y'all. Like breaks are very important. So that doesn't, I'm not saying you shouldn't take breaks, but you should be planning in when you plan to take your breaks, and you should be planning in when you get certain stuff done. So when certain events happen, you are prepared for it and you can move forward, right? Like that excuse of like, oh, well, I didn't want to work on anything because I didn't know Photoshop is not going to fly if you're working at Blizzard, Pixar, or anything like that. They're just going to be like, well, that is the most unprofessional thing I've ever heard. Let's talk about this during your evaluation. Okay. So just be mindful of that. So don't hold off on it. Start working on your thumbnails. Start like refining them. If it was me, what I would do is everybody should have at least 10 thumbnails by now, right? If it was me, I would show a refined thumbnail on Monday. So that way I can like a finalized refined thumbnail. So that way when I have like what is it? My digital painting skills ready, I have the design ready to kind of work on. And then like there's still a little bit more time after Monday to like fix up your design. So that's kind of what I would do is everybody should have their like first 10 thumbnails and possibly like their 5 like focal points, right? If you have those 2, start refining your thumbnails so that way on Monday you can show them because we don't have a lot of feedback moments, and so take advantage of that. Any questions on that before we take a look at the project ones? Awesome. Okay. And for those of y'all printing out the stickers, though we are doing the sticker thing on the very last day of class. So if you do plan to print your stickers, bring them to the very last day of class. We're going to do like kind of like a share. So you'll go around and pass them around to everyone. For the cups, you can just bring them in whatever you want. You only got to print 1 cup. Okay. But for the stickers, I want y'all to print 1 for each person in the class. They should come out to the same price as the cups when you print 1 for each person. Unless you do like, I don't know, like super high premium stickers. Right? But if you get the cheapest ones, it should come up to around very similar to the price as the cup. Anyways, let's take a look at these stickers and cups. That is cool. I like this one. That's awesome. Ooh, that is awesome. That's so cool. That's a nice silhouette too. That's so cool. I love this. Oh, that's so cute. Is that like alcohol but drunk or something? Ooh, that's so fun. That's awesome. Ooh, beautiful. Oh, these are fun shapes too. Ooh, nice, y'all. These are looking great. Oh, that's so fun. Oh, nice colors too. I like your notes. The texturing looks great too. I love the pastel too. That's awesome. Ooh. I like that. I want to swim in creme brulee. Might need a bath after though. And I got to make sure the sugar is not too hard either. Otherwise, I might, don't want to get a concussion, right? Ooh, these are fun. Dinosaur warriors, medieval, fantasy. That's super cool. Ooh, that's cute. Nice. Oh, I love this bag. Yo, these are awesome, y'all. Y'all really went all out. Ooh, nice. That is cool. That's awesome. What? That's so cool. It's my spirit animal. Whoa. Yeah, that's my biggest nightmare. Have y'all heard of what is it? Y'all know like UCI, like they have a road called Campus Drive. Have y'all heard? Y'all know what I'm talking about? Have you ever heard about the legend of Campus Drive? I don't know if it still goes around, but this is when I was like 20, 18 years old. Like this is what we talked about in college, but it's a little bit grim. And it's a little bit spooky. So if that's not your thing, feel free to like close your ears or whatever. But long story short, there was a story where like there was this lady who lost her daughter on Campus Drive, and she went out looking for her at the road one night, and she never came back. So, like the legend goes, like when you're driving at Campus Drive at night, sometimes a lady will ask you if she's seen any like her daughter around, and when you say no, she appears in the back of your car seat, and you can see her through her window, and that always freaked me out while driving to UCI. So I never took Campus Drive. But that's never happened to me once. And that's never happened to anyone I know once. Knock on wood. Right? But what is it? It kind of gave me these vibes. That's so awesome. These are so cool. Oh, I guess that's it. All right. Well, nice job, y'all. Give yourselves a round of applause. So again, these are officially due on Saturday, 9 a.m. if you plan to turn them in late. For everyone else, like they are officially late now if you haven't submitted them in the Google Drive, okay? It's going to take me about 1 week to grade them from your submission. So if you submitted it today, you should receive your grade back by next Wednesday or earlier. If you submit it tomorrow, by Thursday or earlier, and so on. All right. You should receive an email, and also good to know once I send out everybody. Oh, really quickly. Yeah, once I send out everybody's stuff, I will send another email asking y'all if everybody got it. So if you don't receive the confirmation email, it just means I haven't sent them all out yet. Okay. And also good to know, if you see a dash next to your grade, it means it's ungraded. But if you see a zero or a number, it means it's graded. Okay, so if you see a dash and I'm still you haven't received your grade back, just give me some time because I'm probably still putting in the grades. But if I sent out the email and you still see a dash, then that probably means I either forgot, or if you get like a zero or something and you did submit something, then that probably means I like messed up, or like there was some sort of like communication or file transfer error along the way. Anyways, anybody have any questions about project 2 before we jump into the main course for today? All right, well, let's learn how to Photoshop. So super quickly, y'all. If you would like to check out a pen, but you haven't done so yet, let's take a moment to do that. Anybody still need to check out a pen? Awesome, awesome. And it's first come, first serve. So they're out, they're out. And then once y'all have got your pens, all that stuff ready, go ahead and open up Photoshop. Also, I haven't taken roll yet, so I'll take roll during break time. Hey, Alan. Hey, Amanda. How y'all doing? That's good. And I've been receiving a lot of job applications. And I got to say right now, as somebody who's reading through them, some of the ones I don't select are the people who don't pay attention to detail. Like, for example, we sent over an email asking someone for an interview, and I asked them all these questions and didn't answer a single one. So now I don't want to interview them. Because it shows me if I send them messages, they're not going to listen. They're not going to read it. Like, communication's so big, y'all, in any job. Like, this person just showed me they don't know how to communicate. But just wanted to share that because I think it's like kind of good to know what it's like from, from like a recruiter side. Okay, anybody still need to check out a pen? All right, let's go ahead and open up Photoshop, y'all. If you don't know how to open it up, go to the very top right corner with the magnifying glass and type in Photoshop. It should be Photoshop 2024. So I'll wait for everybody to kind of open that up. If you're on a Windows, you should have it. Well, if you're on a Windows, you either brought your own computer or you're at home, and you probably have the Photoshop icon. If you don't, you probably haven't downloaded it yet. Otherwise, you can go to the bottom left-hand corner where the taskbar is and like look for Photoshop. And just so I know, who needs like a more time to open up Photoshop? Excellent. Okay. So I want to run through like the interface of Photoshop with y'all first, and then afterwards, like we're gonna jump into doing some we're gonna jump into learning some tools. Okay. So really quickly, y'all, it's really simple. It's very not really simple, but it's very similar to like Adobe Illustrator. Okay. I actually think Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator have a very similar learning curve. But Adobe Illustrator, it has a more mechanical learning curve, which means that like there's a specific process that most people use that is very similar. Whereas Photoshop is a little more organic. Like there's going to be like different ways to get from point A to point B. Not that you can't do that in Illustrator too, but in Photoshop, it's just it's a photo manipulation tool. So there's just tons of things we can do, right? So really quickly, when you open up Photoshop, this is kind of what you see, okay? On the bottom, it's going to have your most recently opened files. So you can see, what is it? My girlfriend drew Snoopy, right? And then, what is it? If you have other files open on Photoshop, they should appear here. But if you only want to see your cloud files, you can click on your files on the left, and it should show your cloud files. So you can see all the paintings I've like worked on, all that stuff. Any files that's shared with you over here, which I have none. And if you accidentally delete any of the files, they should be in deleted. Lightroom is for photo editing. We won't be going over that in class, but if you're a photographer, you're probably going to be using Lightroom a lot more. That's probably something the photography class will go over with you. But just good to know if you ever have any and it's a separate program, it's a separate program that works with Photoshop. But if you have any photos in the Lightroom program, that's where it would be too. Now, if I want to open up a new file, we can press open. So I think that's pretty obvious. It's going to open it up from your Creative Cloud first, but if you want to open up from your computer, you can click on this and find files. And to make a new file, you can click on new file, and it's very similar to Illustrator. We got a whole bunch of like preset ones over here. So for photos, print, illustration, websites. And we can also choose our file size over here, our units of measurement. If we want it like horizontal or vertical, like orientation. We can even add more artboards. So I can go over that in a little bit, but we don't really use that in Photoshop. Resolution, units of measurement for resolution, RGB versus CMYK. I think we talked about that already in like Illustrator, right? Awesome, awesome. So just to remind y'all, RGB is for websites and like screens, whereas CMYK is for print. So if you plan to print something, set it at CMYK. There's also grayscale, and like grayscale can be really useful. If you're working on a grayscale image, this is probably like how I would like work with grayscale. Is just keep it at grayscale. Other than that, like when you make a file, it's always going to come out as a white like file, kind of like this. But if you wanted to change the color of that, you can go over here and choose different colors, including transparent, or you can click on this white box to change the color altogether. So you can see two separate files. Otherwise, these color profiles, if you're working in a specific, if you like transfer a file or you're using a file from a separate program or a separate or a previous version of a separate program, there's a whole bunch of different ones over here. I never use this though. I think as illustrators, we don't really have to use this, but if you're a videographer or photographer, this might be more useful. And last but not least, we got pixel ratio. I don't use this that much either, but if you're working with like videos and like animations or GIFs or something, and you're trying to upload them onto like YouTube or some sort of screen, like these are different like pixel ratios that are set for that. Anybody have any questions on Photoshop so far before we jump into making a new file and just messing around with some stuff? Excellent. And if you want to save your files, you can actually save your preset templates here. So if you click on this, and I'm going to put Jesse1, they'll go under saved, and it'll have the file and resolution there always. So if you always have to work in a specific size, like for example, maybe you're working on a project like, I don't know, Ninja Turtles, and they always want you to do it at like 8.5 by 11, right? Then you can set it at that size. So every time you click on this, it's a Ninja Turtle size, right? Anyways, let's go ahead and open up a new file. Can I have everybody press new file and just go to letter over here and then press create? And you should make like a blank white canvas that is printing paper size. And let me know if y'all need help, yeah? Anyone still making one? Excellent, okay. So I wanna go over the interface with y'all really quickly. So we're gonna kind of treat it like we did Illustrator, right, in the beginning. When y'all open it up, so give me a quick moment. Let me rearrange and reset my workspace. Okay, so when you open up Adobe Photoshop, this is kind of what it looks like. So on the left-hand side, you have all your tools, just like Adobe Illustrator. On the right-hand side, you have your properties, adjustments, so different settings here. On the very top right, you have colors, swatches, gradients, so some different color tools. On the bottom right, you have your layers. So you have your layers, your channels, and your paths. Now, we're not really going to talk about channels and paths too much right now, but layers should be pretty familiar. Now, in the center, you're going to have your file, just like Adobe Illustrator. And on the very, very top over here, that's going to change depending on the tool you choose. So if you have a specific, like if you're using the brush tool, you're going to get brush tool settings. Whereas if you choose like the gradient tool, you're going to get gradient tool settings. Anybody have any questions so far about the interface? Okay, so first thing I want to teach y'all, other than that, so if you're on Adobe Illustrator, so Adobe Photoshop, and you're on a Mac, you want to click Photoshop 2024, and then you're going to go to Settings, and then General. If you're on a Windows, you're going to go to Edit, Preferences, and then go to General. But generally, here's what this does is if you click on this, so Photoshop settings in general, it'll give you your preferences. And on the very bottom right over here, you'll see where it says reset preferences on quit, right? This will reset all of your settings on Photoshop when you click it. So if I don't know how to fix it and you don't know how to fix it, this is what you got to press and it'll factory reset everything. Anybody have any questions so far? Excellent. Okay. And you can also change like certain interface things here. So if you want to change the theme of your Photoshop to like make it a little bit easier to see in the dark or light or whatever, you can do that. If you want to turn off and on certain tools, you can do that. So there's different little things over you can mess around with. I think the two other ones I want to show y'all are performance and scratch discs. For this part, if you have like a note-taking paper, I recommend to write it down because this is one of those like really small things that like you might run into an issue later, but you might not remember how to fix it because it's such a minor issue. But under preferences, if you want, basically this like tells people like under performance, it's going to basically adjust how strong you want Photoshop to be. If you want Photoshop to run stronger, you can actually up this over here to 100% and it'll run Photoshop at 100%. But it's going to cost your computer memory. So what that means is like you won't be able to open up as many programs and as many windows with this at 100%. Does that kind of make sense so far, everyone? Anybody like super confused by what I mean by that? I know it's like it's like technical computer like jargon, but anybody like anybody like super confused on what I mean? Excellent. And then another thing that seems a little bit more useful to people is you can actually change the amount of history states you want. So every time you Command Z, that's one history state, right? Photoshop is set at 50. So that means you're allowed to Command Z 50 times. And after that, like you can't anymore. If you want to do more, you can raise this, but it's going to also cost your computer memory. So it's going to make your computer slower, but you get like 1,000 redos if you want, right? I honestly never ever changed these. The only time I've changed these is when, okay, my friends like to change the history states to about 100 because they like to have 100 redos. For me, I feel like I'm just gonna learn how to do it in 50 because I don't want to mess up too much, you know. So I don't have to really change that. This, however, if your computer is kind of weak, but it still works, you might be able to up this just a little bit and it'll make it a little bit smoother. But if your computer is completely lagging, this is not going to do anything for you. Like, I'll just be straight up honest. And by this point, I'm sure everybody has probably noticed too. If your computer can't handle like Photoshop or Illustrator, you're going to have a lot of issues with the class. Like, so just make sure that, you know, when you are working on your devices, they work. But in general, like this is where you can adjust that. The second one is scratch disks. Everybody knows what's a hard drive, right? Anybody not know what a hard drive is? Okay, scratch disks is going to show the hard drive that you want to save Photoshop files into. So in this case, we only have one hard drive, which is the hard drive of this Mac PC. Now, some people have two hard drives in their computer, right? Some people have three, right? If your computer runs out of hard drive space, you can use this to save into different hard drive spaces. Now, it's kind of weird because it's like, oh, wouldn't I just be able to just save and just put it in the hard drive? Unfortunately, Photoshop has it so that whichever hard drive it's saved into, so if you downloaded Photoshop in this hard drive and it's full, it's not going to allow you to save any more unless you select the other hard drives that are empty. So you need to select, like, so if you have multiple hard drives in your computer, I would recommend selecting them here so that way you're using as much memory with Photoshop as possible. Otherwise, what's going to happen is if you have no more memory and you start to draw something, it won't even let you make a mark anymore. It'll say the scratch disks are full. Anybody ever run into that before? Some people, yes. Some people, no. But anyways, those are the most important things here. Anybody have any questions about that? Nice. Okay. So next thing I want to show y'all is if y'all go to Windows, Workspace, and Essentials, they have different layouts over here that y'all can use. But if you ever want to reset your space, like for example, if I move this on accident, so y'all remember my cousin, right? He like messed up my like interface last time and I had to fix it. So let's just say I let my cousin play around again, and this is what my cousin does. And I'm like, oh, shoot, like, why'd you have to do that? Right? I can go to window, workspace, and I can reset essentials, and it'll reset everything in place. I can even set up my own workspace. For example, I really like to have brushes on the left-hand side over here. I'm a digital painter, so I like to have my brushes here. I like to turn this off. I don't need any of these. So that way my layers is really big. My colors is really big. Just like that. And I also like to open a navigator. I'll go over what a navigator is later, but let's just say that I like this setup. This is the setup I have at home, by the way. I'll talk about this later on. If I like what I have, I can go to Windows, Workspace, and then New Workspace. And I'll type in what I want, Jesse's Workspace. And now it's an available workspace whenever I go to Windows and Workspace. And if I move these things, like if I'm like, oh, let's move this here and move this here, I can go to Workspace and reset my workspace, and it'll reset it to when I saved it to. Does it kind of make sense, everyone? Anybody have any questions about that? Excellent, excellent. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's go ahead and play around with Photoshop a little. Before we jump into the exercises, I just kind of want to do a very, very quick rundown on like the program. So really quickly, y'all, if you're messing around with me, you should have this open, right? First and foremost, if you hold the space bar and you click and drag, you can move your canvas around. So go ahead and try that. And if you're using a pen, you can do that with the pen too. Really quickly, anybody need to review how to use the pen again? I know I talked about it last week when we did like Illustrator, or last time when we did Illustrator, but does anybody need me to review the pen again? Okay, so everybody knows how to use a stylus, right? Okay, excellent. Okay, so in order to zoom in, you can press Z, and then you can tap to zoom or click and drag. So you can see I can click and drag. Or you can hold Alt to zoom out. So tap to zoom in, and if you hold Alt, it's to zoom out. I want y'all to write this down. Alt is the button you want to hold to deselect and like move backwards for a lot of things. So we're gonna be using Alt and Shift a lot. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now go ahead and mess around with that. So hold the space bar, click and drag it around, and then hold like, and you can use like your magnifying glass. Hold Alt to zoom out, and then you can click to zoom in. So I'll give you all like a minute to mess around with that. And then go ahead and you can like move around your like interface, reset it, all that stuff. But yeah, just mess around with that. I want y'all to get used to it. Yeah, hold space bar, click and drag y'all. You press Z for zoom. By the way, it's like I'm gonna be like talking about hotkeys a lot. It's really interesting. Did I talk to y'all about like hotkeys in this generation before? I did. Yeah, like this generation really loves to use touchscreen. I don't know. I don't think Photoshop has hand gestures or anything like that, at least not yet. So I recommend to learn how to use the hotkeys for like Photoshop. If you're using something like Procreate, you got to learn hand gestures. That's how Procreate's set up. But if you're using like Photoshop or Clip Studio, I think like the iPad version has both like has both hand gestures and like hotkeys from what I know. But like Photoshop right now only has hotkeys. So if you want to move faster in Photoshop, I recommend learn the keys. Okay, let's see. Now another thing I want to show y'all is if you press Tab. So if you press Tab, you can get rid of your interface, and if you press Tab again, it brings it back. This is really good when you got to show people work. Or if you have too many things, like you have a really, really small screen and like there's too many things on there, you can press Tab to hide everything and press Tab to bring it back. F is for full screen. So if you press F, it'll toggle between full screen, presentation mode and like window screen. And one last thing I want to show y'all is if you double click on these parts here, so you see the magnifying glass in the hand, right? Well, actually, this might be better. Um, well, I'll show you all this. If you double click on the hand, it'll bring it back to like full screen. Or if you double click, and if you double click on like the magnifying glass, it will zoom it up to 100% pixels. Another shortcut key is Command 0. Command 0 will bring you back to center and full screen. So if you ever like lose where you are on your screen, you can press Command 0 and it'll bring you back there. Or Control if you're on a Windows. Anybody have any questions? Anybody need me to slow down and take a moment to like play around with it? Awesome. And am I moving at a good speed? Everything's good? Okay, awesome. I know I talk really fast, so if I'm talking too fast or moving too fast, just let me know and we can slow down. At least like slow down to the best that we can. I know we only got 5 weeks, so we have to move a little quick. Okay, here's what I want to show y'all really quick. So to choose the colors of your swatches or your brushes and stuff, on the very bottom left, there's two color choices. We have a foreground color and background color. Now, it's a little different than Illustrator, okay? In Illustrator, we have the fill. So what do you want to fill the shape in with? And we have the color of the line work, which is the stroke. Over here, it's just like, think of it like painting swatches. So like whatever colors you choose, you can use them for like painting. That's how it works for here. Okay, so it's a little bit different. Now, to change these colors, you're going to double click on them and then you can choose your colors. So why don't y'all choose two very different colors and set them for your first and second color? So I'm doing red and green. So go ahead and choose two colors, y'all. Anybody still need a moment? Okay. So I want to show y'all really, I want everybody to make a new layer. To make a new layer, go to your layers tab, and there should be a box with the plus. I want y'all to click on that, and it should make a layer. To delete a layer, you're just going to click on the layer and press the trash can. Or if you want, you can also drag your layer to the trash can. But go ahead and make a new layer so we're not working on the background layer. Anyone have any questions? Anyone still trying to make a new layer? Awesome, awesome. Now, when you open up Photoshop, you're always going to get a locked background layer. If you want to unlock it, just click on the lock and it'll get rid of the lock. So it's really easy to do. Now, if you've made a new layer, you should have two layers, layer 1 and layer 0, right? Or layer 1 and background layer, something like that, right? Now, I want y'all to go to layer 1, and here's what I want y'all to do is I want y'all to press Alt and then Delete. If you're on a Mac, it's Option Delete. So it should say Alt Option Delete. Now, if you do that, it should fill in the background or the layer with the first color. So hold Alt or Option and Delete to fill in the layer with the first color. When you're done with that, I want you to press Command Delete. That's going to fill it in with the back color. If you're on a PC or a Windows, it's Control Delete. Anybody have any questions? Awesome. Okay. So here's what I want to show you all how to do. Anybody still need to like work on this part? Okay. Now, in order to erase everything, I want you to press Command A or Control A. You should have some dotted lines going around your canvas, kind of like I do. So Command or Control A. Anybody need help? Nice. Okay. Now, when you press Control A or Command A, it selects everything on this like layer. And how do you know it's selected? First, we have the layer selected. So if I go to layer 0, now layer 0 is selected. Second, these little dotted lines, we like to call that marching ants. This is also called your selection box. Okay? Your selection box is very interesting. So just to kind of show y'all, if I make a selection in the center here and I start to draw something, it only stays inside of the selection box. If I delete something, it only deletes that section too. So a selection box just literally allows you to select an area and it only limits it to that area. Now to delete everything on your layer, you're going to select everything with Command or Control A, then press the delete button and it should delete everything on that layer. So go ahead and delete everything on that layer. Anybody still working on deleting? Okay, to deselect your selection box, you're going to press Command or Control D. Command or Control D, and it should go away. Anybody still need to work on that before I show you all the next thing? Okay, so I want everybody to select this box over here. It's called a marquee tool. If you don't see it, right-click this area, and you should see either elliptical or rectangular marquee tool. Go ahead and select the rectangular one. If you want to do the circular one, that's fine too. It's the same thing, but one's a circle and one's a rectangle. Anyone still working on the grabbing the selection tool? Okay, so to make a selection, you're going to click and drag to make a selection. So go ahead and make a small box. All right. I want everybody to write this down because I always get the same question over and over again. So this should be like the same thing throughout the whole like rest of the session. To add more selections, you hold Shift. That's the same for everything. So if I hold Shift, I can add more boxes. To get rid of selections, you hold Alt or Option. So go ahead and select and deselect some. And if you want to grab the circle tool, you can also add some circular like selections too. Kind of looks like a pixel Mario character. Once you've done that, go ahead and fill it in. So press Alt Delete. You should notice it only fills inside of that section. So once you're done, press Alt Delete or Command Delete, and you'll see it only fits inside that section. And if you add more selections or get rid of more selections, it does the same thing. You all see that, right? Anyone have any questions so far? Yes. Yes. What is it? I'll get to that more in detail in a bit, but if you go to edit and you go to keyboard shortcuts, you can like customize them there. It's kind of tricky because like if another button has the hotkey already, you have to know which tool it's for and you got to switch that tool to a different one. Otherwise, it deletes the hotkey for the tool you replaced it with. Oh, Clip is great. Yeah, Clip. I'll give you all my hotkeys. I really like my hotkeys. I play a lot of video games before, so like I kind of feel like I set them up so like you never have to move your hand on the keyboard. It only stays in one place. But yeah, I feel you though. Like it can be kind of annoying to learn, and some of the hotkeys are not even like conventional. You have to like move your hand all the way to the other side of the keyboard, or press like Command F4 F5, something like that. You know, so I totally understand your like pain. Yeah, I'll show y'all what my hotkeys are a little bit later, but I really like mine. But if y'all want to change them, it's keyboard shortcut and menus. Um, okay, really quickly, y'all, I want y'all to deselect this selection. And then I want you to make another selection over any area on your colored in shape. Awesome. Hey, anybody still need time to do that? Okay. Now I want you to go to the very first tool on the top. It should look like a compass, like a northeast southwest thing. This is the move tool. The hotkey for that is V. Okay, V for Vendetta. You're going to click on this. And then what you can do is you can now move this part around. So anytime you make a selection on something and then you move it, it only moves that selection. But if you don't have any selections at all, it'll move the whole thing on the layer. You all see that, right? So if there's no selections, I can move everything together. But if there is a selection, then it's only going to move the part that I selected. Anybody have any questions about that? Yes. Sure, yeah. So if I make a selection over an area and then I move it, it'll only move the selected parts. But if I don't make a selection and I move something, it'll move everything on that layer. So you see, even if I do this, y'all, like you see how there's like a little red like circle on the top right? If I like move this, but I don't make a selection, it's going to move the red circle and like the green Luigi character. But if I make a selection here and I move this, it'll only move that selected area. But hopefully that answered your question. Any other questions, y'all? Awesome, awesome. Okay, let's see. Let's work on some exercises. Anybody need time to mess around with it just a little bit more before we jump into exercises? Okay, so let's go ahead and begin our Photoshop journey. I would like y'all to go ahead and navigate yourselves to the Photoshop folder. And let's go ahead and open up. So we're going to go to Photoshop Basic Tools. And I want everybody to open up numbers 1 to 4 to start with. So we'll do the first 4. Oh, by the ways, it might ask you this question. Just press no. Like, it's because I used a different font on my computer, and this font doesn't exist on this computer, so you can't replace it. But that's okay. It's still the same exercise. Dang, y'all have the new version of Photoshop, huh? I just realized this is going to be a little bit different than my other semesters. Y'all know what y'all have this version? This is the first class I get to teach this version in. They didn't do this before, but now you can see which layer your objects are just by putting your mouse over it. Isn't that cool? Like if you put your mouse over the green, you can see it's on this layer. It highlights it in blue. Isn't that crazy? Anyways, so let's go ahead and go over this assignment. Anybody need a moment to open this? You need help finding it? Oh yeah, it's gonna be the first packet. You can open the first four. I'll wait a little bit more. Oh, just press no for that. Yeah, if it ever asks you all that question for the assignments, you can just press no. It just means that the text that I use at home isn't on these computers. So this computer doesn't have the same fonts that I do. Does anybody have an iPad for their, I mean, have a keyboard for their iPad? Do you like it? Do y'all like it?
I don't have like the expensive one, but it's like the folio one.
Oh, okay. Gotcha, gotcha. Oh, that's good to know. Okay. I've been thinking about getting one because I want to get a new laptop because like I've just been doing more work outside now, but this year they're not releasing anything new for like the processors. So all the CPUs stay the same. Where so like I want to wait until next year when they release a new Intel or like AMD or whatever. But I don't want but like it's getting like to the point where I really need a laptop. So I was like, okay, maybe I can just use my iPad with the keyboard. That's only $100, you know? But versus like the laptop I want is around like 2000, I think. So I don't want to drop 2000 right now. It's gonna put a dent in my wallet. Anybody still need time to open this? Okay, so I want to go over this assignment together, and I'm going to give you all some time to do it, okay? But I have given you all 9 different boxes, and there are 9 numbers in here. What I would like y'all to do is you're going to put the number inside of the box and put them in order. So I'll show you how we do that. Now, really, really quickly, y'all, I have put these all on different layers. Y'all see that, right? So you're going to have to figure out where they are. Luckily for y'all, there's a new feature in Photoshop where if you put your mouse over the object, you know immediately which layers they are on. You see that, right? So let's go and do this together. So just to show you all first, I want everybody to watch first. So for number one, I'm gonna go to layer D because if I put my mouse over it, it's on layer D. You see that, right? If I go to do this, layer D. So I'm gonna click on layer D. I'm going to go use my rectangle tool. So I'm going to go ahead and select this. Kind of like that. And then I'm going to cut and paste. To cut, you can go to edit, and then you can go to cut, or you can press Command X. And to paste, it's the same thing. So edit and then paste, or Command V. V for Vendetta. I'm going to move the number one all the way to the top left. Actually, let's move it down first. I don't want it in the green box. And then I'm going to grab the red box. So the red box is in the background layer. You see that, right? So I'm going to go to the background layer. I'm going to grab that. Cut. Ooh. Cut. Paste. And I'm going to move this underneath the red box. I'm going to move the red box underneath the number one. So just like that. For number two, same thing. Put my mouse over this. I know where number two is. Let's move it over. And the pink box is missing, so we got to find it. So to find the pink box, I'm just going to, so y'all see these little eyeballs, right? Y'all remember what the eyeballs did in Illustrator? Right? So eyeballs are going to turn off and on visibility. So if I click on this, like certain things will turn off and on. So you see how the green boxes disappear? I'm just going to turn them all off until I find the pink box. Oh, okay, I found it. Okay, it's on letter B. So I can turn these all on. Well, let's move this first. So go to letter B. Move this over here, turn everything back on. And there we go. We got 1 and 2. Anybody have any questions on how to do this assignment? Okay, I want y'all to work on this for, well, we're going to take a break at like 2. And then after the break, I want to show y'all another trick on this that makes it faster. Okay, so I want you to just practice what we know for now. And then afterwards, we'll show you, and don't worry about this hole. I'll show you how to fill in the hole later. But go ahead and try to do as many as you can until break time. And then after break time, I want to show you a new shortcut. If you don't need help, let me know. This sucked in the first one, but if you're not. Don't worry about this for now. The heat box is underneath the purple box, so you just gotta turn off your layers. You can move it. Well, yeah, so for the background layers, similar to so actually for mine, see I have like a hole over there. I just have to paste it in. Order like one, two. Yeah. Yeah, so I'll show you how to get rid of that gray spot. Really quickly, y'all, do you see how it's like checkerboards, like underneath the white like paint? You all see that, right? Checkerboard means that it's transparent. So there's like a lot of Photoshop memes where like you'll see like a ghost and they're like checkerboarded just because it's, the joke is that they're transparent, right? So like anytime you see checkerboards, it will not show up in print or like files. So just keep that in mind. Take a break in 2 minutes. If you want to take an early break, just come back at 2:10. So Photoshop has Snap automatically on. Here's how you turn off Snap. Go to View, and then you can turn off Snap over here. It's a lot more useful if you're doing like graphic design, but if you're doing like organic painting and stuff like that, it's not necessary. Oh, so in Photoshop, we actually don't have groups. So they're just all on the same layer. And anytime you move something, it just moves everything on that layer. So instead, you have to select the part that you want to move. So go ahead and grab your box selection tool and only select the thing that you want. So in that case, probably the number one. We're gonna work on that. It will. Well, it depends on if it's on the same layer. So what I would do is go ahead and put your mouse over the number one. Okay, so go ahead and go to layer D. Go ahead and click the box and go ahead and select only the number one. Excellent. Go ahead and press Command X.
press Command B to paste. So it always pastes it on a new layer. So now you can move that to like the area that you want it to. It's cut. So Command X is cut, Command B is paste, and that's universal to all programs. So Illustrator, Microsoft Word. Yes. So, and that's okay if there's a folder. Mine, I'll show you how to fill it with it. Yeah. So what I want you to do is just put all the numbers in chronological order and make sure they're like on top of the color boxes that are awesome. There is like I can show you an extra step way I could do that, but you just have to delete everything. So I can show you like this data layer and you just delete everything from it. That's like 2 or 3 extra steps.
Yeah, I just please Lord, please for these slides and I don't know, like they're trying to go into the creative cloud for AI, like are they trying to shoot themselves in the foot? Like NDAs are about to get shattered. I'm about to like maybe I mean Gen Z's seen a lot in new generations. So
Oh yeah, yeah. For the next generation, it's even more.
all of Adobe, please God, like
Oh man,
the monopoly they have it needs to go.
it's crazy, yeah.
You know?
And luckily, we have a lot of other programs that we can use nowadays that are just as good. But yeah, they have the monopoly over the industry right now in terms of industry.
So please conclude.
Flip is great. I really hope it does better because like, it has a lot. I think it's better for industry.
Yeah, definitely. This is Photoshop, like, this is two separate things.
Yeah, right.
This is like a book that we love photographs, and maybe not understand, we have both, but like, not everybody loves that.
Yeah, seriously. Like, I really wish like Photoshop had like it has like perspective tools and have the models and like trace over them. Like,
maybe over the next ZBrush and like they become like their own program that everybody uses in the industry. And this whole thing, something about the licensing of the subscription versus professional, like they wanted to do subscription at first, but like now they're like, okay, we're looking for professional because everyone was about that.
yeah.
Is that what happened, or is that just a ring?
I'm not 100% sure on that. I know that everybody's going to subscription with the terabytes. Because like it's easy to like hire something that's permanent. It's really hard to hire something that's subscription because it always comes with updates. So like it's to be honest, it's a bit I understand it's a bit fair because if I was that company, I would have found a way to downloading my program for free. Because in the long run, like if everybody downloads for free, the company will have more money and there'll be more development service like for the program. And in general, the program is good. You know, so like it's a double-edged sword, but I'm actually pro subscription just because like, but I mean now they do have a version of the 540 for $200 and that's like really useful. And now you can see everything with that, right?
Yeah, is it more just ads or
I don't know.
is it like a small version of like but
I think you get the full thing, but it just stays at that subscription, at that version. Yeah,
I'm fine with that. I don't need anything more.
I feel you. Yeah.
I think that's like at least have one version for perpetual.
Mhm.
You know, I don't know, like if there's no like if so not I don't know. You know, it's like paintbrush. It's like next thing you know, we have to rent a paintbrush in real life. Like it's like a tool. Like I bought it, I should keep it. And if I want to upgrade, then I keep it.
Exactly.
I think that's how it should be.
It definitely, what is it? That's definitely like a very fair way to work.
Yeah, like, and if you like how it is, you don't have to buy it,
Mhm.
and they don't store all your settings, because they just,
Yeah.
like, I think that, you still keep making revenue.
Mhm.
I think that's the
I feel you. That's how Photoshop was like before. But then I think they started the subscription thing, which made everybody else do it because the company sees it, they're like, oh, they can make money off.
The kind of software it just can't really, I just,
It is. At the end of the day, they're just trying to make money off of all this.
Sorry, life is granted, sorry, just.
No worries. I am equally as upset about a lot of these things.
I was shocked, I was like, okay, I'll make the sacrifice, and then it's AI, I'm like, oh, they're gone. They're gone.
Oh, man, that's crazy.
There are about to be riots all throughout,
Oh,
the artists, they're coming for your exercises.
seriously, yeah, AI is it's such an interesting topic. I was like telling students like AI is interesting because like a lot of studios have started using AI as part of the process.
Me, in the art world, I do not, like, condemn it in good shape or form, it's not doing anything to. Yeah, I think it's new ideas for a composition, but humans already do that, which one you'd rather converse with a robot? That seems like that compromises too much, so.
It
That's
does.
my argument, and also like, I understand that AI doesn't use the world with other industries, like, I understand that, because I would say if you are putting your pride in discovering the cure for cancer before people's lives, you're never. I do understand that, it's just not, I didn't be in that situation. Like, bless you, like, I say bless you. And stuff, but it's better than a lot.
Yes, definitely. Uh-huh.
Well, like in the alcohol, it's a complete, it's easier. It's, like, because it's difficult, like, if you know how the English language works, you can do it.
It's tricky,
And
yeah.
now most of people can snake the ground to complete it. Years, they can't fix these problems. It's just more. So.
It's tricky. It can help. I really believe it can, but if people ethically don't use it right, and it dilutes a lot of the art because AI requires more art to make more art. But if we're using AI to make art, it's all gonna flatten out.
Yeah, it's just because people success. It's like you're using all the art, so it does flatline.
It does, yeah. That's the part that's the most tricky. And the thing that really sucks is like, I hate to say it, but even in education, schools are starting to push you or teach people how to use AI just because like.
I think it's so redundant though, because it's, like I said, you just have to, like, how AI starts to do.
Like I know, like at Fullerton here, I don't know if any of y'all will be able. I mean, most of y'all graduating soon, but I know in the research department, like they want to push us to start teaching how to use live generation, which is like utilizing AI to compose your images.
But then they lose the skill of actually doing it. So
Yeah.
that's why, now you can start relying on this budget. So that's.
It is, yeah. I'm a big like you gotta know your fundamentals before you use it. Like if you're gonna use like even like photo bashing, like you can't just photo bash and just like say, well, you gotta have the painting skills to know how to compose and put things together and
But even then, you still have to know how the lighting works, so have to alter it.
Exactly.
So you're still exercising the skills versus just typing in the doctor, but I just don't see it. Like you will lose the ability to do it, so.
yeah, it's tricky. I do think though, if I have to be fair, there are some cool AI Photoshop tools that are coming out next. So I've talked to our art director about this, and long story short, like AI should be used for refining, not for like content. Like for example, like let's just say email. Like I wouldn't like, or like let's just say like a recommendation. Like I wouldn't like use AI to generate it, but I would maybe use it to only start off, read through it, and then polish it up. Whereas like for like art, what they've been using it a lot for is like refining textures. So like for example, Photoshop, I don't know if you saw the new video, they actually have a new feature now where if you select like your hand, you grab the texture, they use this AI to wrap around that.
Like it's like new topology, like let's be honest, like there are some crazy people who love it, it's called because it's all about making a system that works.
Yeah.
It's tedious,
It
it's
is.
something that like it's just grunt work that nobody wants to do. Like that's why, that's another reason why another time I think that like it's something that nobody actually wants to do. It's tedious part of the entire modeling process, it's needs to be done.
Even for paintings now too, actually. Like the AI can even like throw it on your painting. So if you grab like a rock, and you grab like a texture, it'll try and specify on there. But again, like what I tell people, like you shouldn't use that unless you know how to paint. You know, because like what if it doesn't look right? And then
Yeah,
like
you know, with photo action, you said that, I just said, okay, I gotta fix it.
exactly.
Here. I just, like, the whole point is that.
Exactly. It's really tricky. But
I just think it's like, you know, at this point, it's worse, more worse than it is. I don't know, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
it's just, it's.
we're in a very
much trouble. It just, it's too, even if it's gray and it's too much.
it's very hot and cold right now. I'll say that. Yeah, I think it's gonna take some time for us to figure out how to use it correctly if we even continue using it. Because the truth is, it's not going away. I'm gonna be really honest.
I think it
Like,
like definitely, in that, it's so.
I think for AAA companies, like Disney, Pixar, all of them will continue doing it.
Yeah.
But there's always going to be a market for anything for original stuff too. So what I've been telling a lot of students, is my opinion, is like, I don't think AI will go away, but I think it'll be a separate category of art than other stuff, kind of like photo fashion. So like it really, and then like there's gonna be like rules to like using it too, and those are currently still forming. And that's the part that makes it tricky. And I know a lot of companies right now are kind of doing the whole Wild West thing. Because AI has no laws right now almost, other than the ones that have came out with the issue.
But it is, I am very sure that they're gonna start cracking down.
Definitely, yeah.
So I'm really glad that the copyright office said you can't copyright these images, because you gotta steal them, you have to take them to something else. Thank you.
Yeah.
Someone's.
Definitely, yeah.
It's- Like, the information is because of some kind of, like, it seems like, you know, because it's a. So, then it's really kind of, like,
That would be cool. They deserve it.
I don't know, I've always wanted in studio, so best time to plant a tree is 10 years ago.
That's true.
Great. That's a great quote. All right, y'all. So I want to show y'all a really quick trick. And then I'll let y'all work on this for a little bit more and then we'll move on. So really quickly, y'all, I want everybody to look on the top. I want you to go to your move tool. Okay. So go to your move tool. Anybody finished this one yet? Okay, if you ever finished it, like you can just play around. So you can save it first and then play around and just make sure not to save over it. Okay. Y'all see on the very top left where it says auto select, right? I want you to turn that off. Okay, turn it off. Auto select when you digitally paint is going to ruin your painting really badly. Okay, it's really useful, but you should always have it off. So go ahead and turn it off. Okay. I want to show you how to use auto select. So I have it off, but to toggle it, you can hold command. So I want everybody to press command. And if you're on a Windows, you're going to press control. And you can see when I press it, it turns it on, but when I let it go, it turns it off, right? Anybody have any questions so far? Anybody confused? Mm-hmm. It should be. If it's not working, let me see. Oh, you gotta be on move. And you can turn it off. There we go. Okay. I want to show what auto select does. Some of y'all already started using auto select, but I need everybody to know how to not use it and use it. Because this is one of those things where like, if you have it on, it will mess up your painting really bad. Okay. What does auto select do? So if I have auto select off, so how many of y'all notice when you click on your numbers or objects, it brings you to that layer? Anybody notice that? Oh, probably not, right? Because not a lot of people are looking at the layers when you're doing this. Normally, when you click on something, it's not going to bring you to that layer. You see that, right? If I click on the 8, it doesn't move the 8. Normally, you can only move whatever layer you selected. So if I want to go to layer 8, I have to go to layer 8 first, and I got to move it. Now, I know this might seem tedious, but why is this useful? Auto select, okay, if you want to, well, before I talk about auto select, you want to have auto select off because when you have it on and you click on something, it brings you to that layer. So you see, if I click on number 8, it'll bring me to number 8. If I click on number 2, it'll bring me to the layer of number 2. You see that, right? But if I don't have it on, so I'm going to turn off auto select, it won't bring me to these layers anymore. It'll only tell me what they are in blue. You see that, right? Now, auto select is really awesome when you got to move, when you got to move certain things really quickly. So if I need to move this, if I need to move the number 6, you see, I can quickly go to those layers and jump between them to like move them around, right? But the reason why you want it off, anybody know why you would want it off while digitally painting? Yes.
I find that it makes me less conscious of like how my layer structure works. So then all of a sudden you've been painting for a while, then you realize that it's been on the wrong layer.
Yeah. If you have it on and you click on the background layer, but you start painting on the foreground layer, or you start painting your foreground on it, guess where your foreground is on? It's on the background layer now. You want to have it off so that you don't switch between different layers while you paint. Okay? So instead, toggle it using the command tool. This allows me to control when I want to move to different layers and when I want to stay on the same layer. So if I want to go to number 3, I can hold command, click on that, make that selection, cut and paste. I can go to layer 4. I could go to this box, hold command, click on it, grab it, cut and paste, just like that. You see, it makes it really, really quick. But if I don't want to move between different layers, then I can just let go of the command button, and now it's just going to focus on that specific layer. Anybody have any questions? Okay, one last thing. So if you have a whole bunch of holes, you're going to make a new layer, put it on the very, very bottom, and you're just going to fill it up with white. So I'm just going to grab white paint, hit white, and press Alt backspace to fill, or Option backspace. Anyone have any questions before I give you all a little bit more time to work on this? Okay, I'm going to give you all until 2:25 to finish this up. Yeah? So you have until 2:25. When you're done, we're going to jump into number 2, the Goofy Magic Wand one. And same thing as before. Oh, actually, don't save it yet. I'll show you how to save these. Yeah? I'll show you how to save these assignments. But it'll be the same format, very similar to your previous. Now, 2:25, we're going to move on. So go ahead and work on these. All right, it's 2:25, so we're gonna move on. Go ahead and open up this one over here, y'all. Anyone still need a moment to open this? Okay, this one's really easy. I want everybody to do this one with me. On the very left-hand side, you should have a magic wand tool. It may look like one of these tools, but can y'all go ahead and select your magic wand? And I want y'all to do this step by step with me. Don't move forward. Do not move forward. Anyone still need to select the magic wand tool? W for magic wand. Also, if it's not on the magic wand tool, if you hold shift and then you press the hotkey, it'll toggle between the different tools. All right. So I want everybody to just click on one of the white sections. Now, the magic wand tool, just to kind of show y'all super quickly, actually, let me go to a different one. So when you use the magic wand tool, if you click on an area such as like this like darker area on the top left, it'll select everything that is similar to it. You see that, right? And you can add more selections to add more. So if you hold shift, you can add more. Now, to change how much you want to select, on the very top, we have something called tolerance. If your tolerance is at 0, it means that it has to be the same color for them to select it. So if I click on this, you see it's a very small amount because everything else is a slightly different shade or color. If I increase the tolerance to like 30, it's going to select even more because it's going to tolerate like basically like it's going to select different values and different like tones, similar to the ones that you clicked. Anybody have any questions about that? Okay, so for this one, you can add more selections by holding shift, and you can delete selections by holding alt. So I want you to select 3 of them and then press delete. It doesn't matter which 3, just select 3 of them. Anyway, so need to work on selecting 3 and deleting them. Okay, now it's kind of annoying. Let's just say I want to get rid of all of the white spaces. You'll see on the very top where it says contiguous, right? Contiguous is when you select an area, it stops when it hits another color that is different. If you turn it off, it selects everything on that layer that is the same tone, value, or hue. So if I click on it now, it'll select all the white parts and I can delete it. Once you have it like this, you're finished. Oh, I need to show you how to save the assignments. So we'll do that after. So go ahead and turn off contiguous, select the white and delete, and this one's finished. Anybody have any questions? Okay, let me show you how to save your stuff. To save your stuff, we're going to go to File, and I want you to go to Save As. So File and then Save As. Okay, once you've clicked on that, same thing. Don't change the title. If the title is any different, it gets deleted. Put your name in the front and make sure it's consistent throughout all of the files. So start off like this. You need to save a Photoshop file. So we'll go ahead and save this first. And then after, I'm going to show you how to save the JPEG. You can do that with both of your files here. So go to this one, put your name in the front, keep it consistent. Okay, now if you save both of them, to save a JPEG, you're going to go to File and Save a Copy. File and then Save a Copy. Now, once you press Save a Copy, it should give you the option to save it as a JPEG. And if you did it correctly, it should keep your naming convention. So always save as first, and it's going to ask you some questions. Just make it maximum. Press OK, and that's it. Once you have these, you can go inside of what is it, the Google Drive, Homework, Photoshop. You can make your own name. And then there's going to be two of them, right? So there's like Photoshop Basic Tools. And I believe the second one is called like Digital Painting. And then you just make sure to throw them inside of the right folders. Anybody have any questions about saving your work? Awesome. Okay. When you're done with that, let's go to number 3. Anybody need a moment before we start this one? For this one, if you have a mouse, that's okay. But if you have a pen, it's a lot easier. So I would use a pen. I would like everyone to go to your magic wand tool and can you select your quick selection tool? Okay, so if you selected this, I want to show you how to use this. It's really easy. So for this one, it's a selection tool, but if you color it in, it selects the parts that you color. If you hold Alt, it deselects. So I want everybody to select the flower, just the pink flower. And you can make your selection cursor bigger and smaller using the bracket tools. So right above your return or enter key, there should be your bracket tools. You see you can make it bigger or smaller. And that should cover more real estate as you make it bigger and less as it's smaller. There we go, something kind of like that. So perfect, just that part of the flower. Anybody still working on the selection? Oh, no worries. We'll wait like another minute. Did you all know you can buy praying mantis eggs at like Lowe's? It's for getting rid of your garden pests. That's what it's for. So you leave them in there and they all hatch. They guarantee 100 will come out. And like they basically like kill all the pests in like your garden. You can also buy 500 ladybugs at Lowe's.
Oh, I've seen.
Me and my friend were saying when we started a page, 500 ladybugs versus. Yeah, I probably won't do that. That's like animal cruelty, but but we're like, that's crazy though. You can buy 500 ladybugs, and it's cheap too. It's like $5.
Every Pokemon versus a billion.
I saw that. Yes, that's so. A billion is a lot, but like they have Pokemon that can change like time and space. So I don't know if like a billion can. And isn't like I mean, if you read like Macargo's like Pokédex, he's like hotter than the sun. Like there's like probably more of them on Earth than just one. So like if that's true, then wouldn't our Earth just be like boiling all the time, right? But yeah, that's funny. I like that. I like that hypothetical. Anybody still need to select it? Okay, I want to show you a new tool. Go to Image, Adjustments, and then Hue and Saturation. Image, Adjustments, and then Hue and Saturation. And the hotkey is Command or Control U. Hue, U. That's a good way to remember it. Yeah, Control U. Anybody need a moment to click on this? Okay, hue and saturation allows you to change the color of whatever you selected, which is the hue, the saturation level, along with its general value. I would like everybody to just make the flower a completely different color than pink. I would recommend don't make it like a reddish orange because sometimes it's hard to tell. Like make it like obviously different. Once you have it like this, you're finished. You can save it and this one's good to go. But that's how you use hue and saturation. When you're all finished with that, we're going to jump to this one over here. Anybody need help or we'll just back up on everyone too. I think some people are still working on it, so let's do another 2 minutes. So we'll continue at 2:40. Yeah, these Photoshop exercises will be a little bit quicker, y'all. I think Photoshop is the tools are easier to learn, but the process for cleaning up your artwork is a little bit tougher. Like you need more control in Photoshop because it's a lot more sensitive. Okay. Anybody still working on the flower one? All right, let's jump to this one over here. So this one's really easy. I'm going to show you how to do this, but I want to show y'all like some tools first. So really quickly, y'all, I want y'all to go ahead and select. Let's do the letter L first. So I want y'all to grab the L and copy and paste it. To copy, it's Command C or Control C. And to paste is Control or Command V. And then just move it to the side for now, like right here. Oh, whoa, we have alignment on Photoshop now? That's kind of cool. I didn't know that. Anybody still working on the copy paste? Okay, I want everybody to just go ahead and throw this on and then resize it so it fits this area. It doesn't have to be perfect, just try your best. And then when you're done, I want y'all to make another copy of this, but the same size, kind of like that. Anybody still need to work on this? Need help? Anybody need help? Okay, just let me know when you all are finished. For those of you who are waiting, you're welcome to start working on some of these other ones here. So your box, all that stuff. So yeah, for those of y'all waiting, just work on the ones you know how to do. But I want to show y'all how to rotate your objects and flip them. Because this is where we learn how to flip everything. And well, we're also learning how to merge layers at this like stage. So copy and paste. I would always resize them first. And once you resize them, then I would move them. Anybody still working on the L? Yes. Okay, so for your situation, you're gonna press Command T. There we go. Now you should be able to. Yes. Snapping, go to view, and then you cross. Yes. Oh, it's because you're not on the right layer, so you got to be on the right. You have to go back to shapes. Okay, I want everybody to watch. So really quickly, y'all, I want you to grab your second one here, and I want you to press Command or Control T. T for transform. Now, some of y'all might have the transform box already. Some of y'all might not. If you don't, this is what it looks like, and this is how you turn it on and off. So if you go to the very top where the gears are, make sure you're on your move tool. You go to show transform tools, it'll turn it off here. But if you press Command T, it'll activate transform, but with more options. Now, transform allows you to rotate, allows you to stretch. If you hold shift, you can do this. If you hold shift and rotate, it rotates in 5% increments. So it allows you to do all these things. Now, if you right click, some of y'all might, you can also use this too, by the way, but if you right click your transform tool or your transformed object, you have to press Command T. If you don't press, if you right click and it doesn't say any of these, that means you did not press Command T. Okay. So you're going to press Command T, and then you should be able to flip this however you want. So I'm going to flip this, rotate it, and then move it. Anybody have any questions? Okay, I want y'all to go ahead. So I want y'all to go ahead and fill up this box. I'm going to give y'all like 4 minutes to do that. And I want to show y'all the next step. And it's okay if it's not perfect too. So as best as you can. So something kind of like this. So I'll give you all like until 2:50, and then I'll show you all like the last step, and then we'll probably take a break and then come back and like work on it. And by the way, you can use your arrow keys to incrementally move your objects too. So if you can't get them exactly where you want, use your arrow keys, and you can like move them like this way. Okay, I think you already kind of know how to use them. Okay, cool. Most people do. I feel like most people like kind of already have the idea. So it tends to be a little bit easier than the Illustrator stuff. Illustrator is like very mechanical though. I feel like if you have like one option that's off, it like messes everything up.
Remember what your first version of Photoshop was?
Yes, CS2. CS2. I do. I still remember what the picture on it too. It was like a picture of Stonehenge when you open it, and it looks so janky. It like looks like Windows XP, but like with Photoshop. Like there was no content to wear before. I don't think there was quick selection either. There's only Magic Wand. One of the features they took out that I loved the most was they used to be so like whenever you made a brush, you can use any tool with the brush. But now you have to like make the brush and assign it to the tool, and it's really annoying.
Oh,
So one of the ways I'd worked before is I really love this eraser. So I would click on the eraser, and then I would click on my brush. So that keeps the shape of the eraser, but uses the brush as a tool.
oh,
But you can't do that anymore. Actually, you kind of can, but I'll show you all when we digital paint. There's a toggle for that. But it took me like until now to figure that out.
it's just going through more.
It's like for this one, yeah, I guess so. This one's like just they kept it like a secret now. So it was like, I don't know, it was such a good feature that I got to like learn under John Park. Have y'all seen John Park's work? Oh, I love his stuff. He has some amazing stuff. I highly recommend if you could take a class with John, take a class with John. He does some really amazing paintings. And he worked on a Planet of the Apes, Avatar 2, Avatar 1, a lot of like what is it, Mandalorian, things like that. But like even he didn't know about this. That's how secret it was. Like a random student told him. He was like, you know, you just changed my workflow forever, right? Yeah, his stuff is great. Class demo. Yeah, really beautiful stuff. It's like mostly like hand paint. These are all hand painted, so no photo bashing. He does do photo bash work for like professional stuff, but I love his personal stuff because it's all hand. You can look at the brushwork, y'all. Look at that, it's so gorgeous. Look at the abstraction here. Like it's just smudges, but you can still tell it's leaves. It's so good. Yeah, I highly recommend. John Park is a he teaches at Brainstorm. So he teaches a landscape painting class I really enjoy. Okay, so it's 250. I want to show you all this next trick. So if you have all of your layers here, you're gonna hold shift and I want you to select all of these layers. So I click on, so you can hold command or control to select multiple, or if you hold shift, it just selects everything in between. So like that. And then we're gonna go to right click and then we're gonna merge layers. So go ahead and select all the layers that are composed of this box and merge them together. Anyone still working on that part? Nice. Okay. Once you've merged them all, you're gonna move this. You're gonna move this into the video game. Use your transform, make it smaller, and now you're done. So it should look something kind of like this in the end. Anybody have any questions? And just so I know, who needs more time to work on this? We're good? Okay, cool. Let's take a quick break then. Y'all can save this one. Y'all can come back at 3:05. Yeah, so about like 13 minutes. When we get back, we're going to do the next four assignments. So if you want to open that up, you're welcome to open that up. So sorry, there's some skip numbers, I think. I don't think there's a number 5. I think I forgot to put that. But like it's 6 to 9. You can hold shift and select from one area to another. So it selects everything from point A to point B. Or you can hold command to like select like the ones that you want. And if you press command, if you hold command and select them again, it deselects them. Let me see. Oh, you gotta merge. Oh, it's because you gotta do it here. So merge them first. So right click here. Merge layers. Oh, this merge is visible. So right click, merge layers. Perfect. Now you should be able to move your transform. Oh, you merged this on accident. So just make sure you don't merge that layer. Or what you can do is you can select this and put them in the new layer too. So box tool. Go ahead and cut and paste that. Okay, we can do that. Perfect. So come back at 3:05, y'all. When we get back, we're gonna start working on number 6. Yo, sure.
Yes, but I think this is orange. So we're gonna have to find pink box. So it's hidden somewhere. I would like you to use your eyeballs to find where it is. You have to turn off your ears. It's hidden somewhere. I'm gonna turn it off, so I'm thinking start with the top. But it's the fast way to turn it off. Click on one of the eyes, slide. Any other questions? Awesome.
Anybody like Ivan Earl? You don't know Ivan Earl? No, he did the concept art for Sleeping Beauty. Y'all should check out his work. Yeah, Ivan Earl was a amazing. It's one of the big Disney artists back in the day. But he did the concept art for Sleeping Beauty. So really, really cool stuff. He has a show right now, actually at Gallery Nucleus. I highly recommend y'all to go check it out. It's a really, really good show. There's only 4 days left too, but it's so. Oh, he's selling them? Okay, sorry. Uh, but what is it? Yeah, he has some really cool stuff. So I highly recommend if you're into like just painting and concept art and like especially like animation and you want to see some like classic like visual development for like a classic Disney movie, check out Ivan Earl's stuff. Oh, really?
Yes.
It's tricky. It is. Um, it I understand exactly because what is it? I used to teach kids, and one of the two of the paintings we have in there are Ivan Earl paintings, and every time someone picks that, I'm like, no. And especially if it's like a really really little kid, I'm like, that's a little too hard for you. He's like, but I want to do it. I'm like, okay, but we got to simplify it, you know. And then when they start doing the dots, that's where they get mess. That's where they mess up. But it is. But it's so cool when you see his paintings up close. You can see every dot he made with the paint and everything. It's so fun. But I highly recommend checking out Ivan's stuff, y'all. And then a Gallery Nucleus is really cool. They have a lot of pretty well-known illustrators come by. I think last 2 months ago they had oh, they have a Art of Sky. That's really cool. So if you like the game Sky, Sea of Stars, Bryce Coe, it's in Alhambra. So it's about 40 to 40 minutes away to an hour, I would say. So it's not too far. It's like around Pasadena area. So and there's a lot of good food there. So if y'all like are looking for a trip, I highly recommend checking this like this place out. And again, they have a lot of really really cool exhibitions too. A lot of them are like really like well-known artists as well. Let's see what they had before. They had a Spider-Verse one not too long ago. Ooh, Ranja. Oh, I love Ranja's work. But yeah, I feel like their gallery is made for illustrators and animators. So if that's kind of what you're into, they also owe me money. I sold a piece at their gallery. Okay, when I went there for the Ivan Earl show, I was like, I'm just gonna ask them. I was like, hey, 2 years ago, I sold a piece here, but I never got my money. And then like they're like, let me check on that for you. And apparently they sent it to my PayPal, which I never checked. So I'm gonna check it right now to see if I've had the money in there. So, but I hope I do. But I was pretty happy about selling a piece there. But I highly recommend checking them out, and they have a lot of really fun like merchandise too. Like if you like buying artsy things, like it's a great place. Oh my gosh, the money isn't here. Yay, we got paid. All right, it is 3:05. Let's go ahead and continue. So I want to show y'all how to use some more transform tools. Okay. You can open up 6, 7, 8, and 9. There's no number 5. I don't remember why, but there's no number 5. Sorry about the numbering, y'all. I transfer these from like my normal semester classes to use, and I like handpick the ones I want to use for like summer session. So sometimes there's some typos. All right, anybody still need to open this? Okay, this is a really easy assignment. We're gonna slap this mural on the wall. This is a really helpful tool, and I'll explain why. But I want everybody to go ahead and navigate to the layer where the mural is on, and I want you to go ahead and press Command T. You have to press Command T. Even if you already see the boxes, like those like transform boxes, press Command T. Anyone still need to do that? Okay, I want everybody to watch up here. So if you've done this correctly and you right-click this, you should get a bunch of options here. Now, I want to show you all each option before we continue, okay? The first, scale and rotate, you don't really have to do that because you can already scale and rotate using this like normal option. But skew, distort, and perspective are a little bit different. For skew, it allows you to kind of skew your paintings. You see that, right? But it's a little awkward. You see it snaps horizontally and vertically. Perspective allows you to just push things to a vanishing point. You all see that, right? Now, distort allows you to move these individually to different corners. Now, I want you all to watch first, okay? Don't do anything yet because I want to show you all something. So in order to complete the assignment, this is what I got to do. But if I press enter, so I'm going to press enter, enter will confirm it. So this is what the finished product looks like. But when I transform it again, look at the boxes. You see how like my transform box is not at the corners of the mural anymore? It's like a box again, right? When you do this assignment, you only get one try because the moment you use it again, it now turns this into the new corner to like put in perspective. So when you're using this tool, you have to make sure that your image is a box of some sort. You're going to right click and distort, and you want to make sure you do this in one go. You have to finish this in one try. But this is a really useful tool. I've used this tool for a lot of things. Like whenever I have to like put up gallery shows, I grab all the paintings and I distort them onto the wall to see what it looks like. When I'm painting buildings and I have to do like brick texture, I just like I just make a brick texture flat and I just distort it onto like perspective. When I want to draw windows, I just draw a bunch of windows flat and I distort it onto my buildings. It's a really useful tool, y'all. It allows you to get a very basic perspective in when you're trying to create something. Anybody have any questions? Awesome. When you're done, go ahead and save this, put your name in the front, and you can submit this. And don't forget to save a JPEG too. And now we're going to go to the snake. Anybody need help? And just so I know, who needs like another minute to work on this? Okay, so I'll let y'all try to finish it in the next 2 minutes. It shouldn't be too hard. So at 3:12, we'll continue. For everyone else, if you're done, you can like open up the snake one. Cool. Oh, really? Gotcha. That's what. Oh, gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Do you use your keyboard a lot? Okay, what do you use it for? The emails or? Gotcha. Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, maybe I'll do it. I need to do a lot of emailing. There's like coffee shop. I got a lot of like candidates who are interviewing, and you gotta send a lot of emails. They got like update stuff. And so, man, I've been looking for a new laptop. I just don't want to spend 2,000. I mean, if I want to buy a laptop, I want the best one, so that I don't have to buy another one later, right? Thank you for showing me. I appreciate that. Probably consider getting one. Anybody still working on the mural? Okay, let's put snake skin on top of human skin. So let's turn this person into like a lizard. It's like the Spider-Man villain, right? Okay, so really quickly, y'all, I want to show you how to do this, and then we'll do it together. So you can just watch first. So first and foremost, you see on the very top, you see over here on your layers,
There's this thing that says opacity.
Opacity makes it so whatever layer you select, it makes it more and more transparent. We're gonna set. I want everybody to set it so you can. I set it at 60, but set it at like a percentage where you can see the person's arm and you can see the snake skin clearly at the same time. So that way you know where to put the snake skin. All right. So if y'all have done that, I want y'all to go ahead and transform, and you're gonna go ahead and rotate it and make it smaller, kind of like this. And I want y'all to squeeze it as small as you can, but don't press enter. Just leave it like this. You can leave it like this. Don't press enter. Don't confirm anything. By the way, this is a really great way for my tattoo artists to like apply tattoos onto like a photo to see how it looks. Also, when I paint characters and I want them to have a tattoo on the arm, I just draw the tattoo and I like use this tool. Anybody still working on this step over here? Okay, I want y'all to watch this part. So I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna press warp. What warp does is it divides it into multiple sections, and I can grab these sections and I can basically pull them into my forms. So it makes it feel like it's like wrapping around these forms. So what I want you all to do is to go ahead and wrap them around these forms. So just like this. And what's cool too is if you ever wanted to add more grids, on the very top, you can actually split them into more grids up here. You all see that, right? So if I wanted to like add more like grids, I could do that. You all see that, right? Or if I wanted to like do 3x3, 4x4, or even a custom warp, you see we have all these shapes on the top that we can use. These are incredibly helpful. But once you have it like this, press enter. This is something this is kind of how it should look, and you can submit it. But that's how I like do a lot of like, if it doesn't require me to like put too much form into it, like things that pop out, and it's just flat on top of like a surface, you can use this to wrap around that form. Kind of think of like one of those, I forget what it's called, but it's like where you grab like what is it called? When you put like the sticker over like the car. Yeah, vinyl wrap. There we go. It's like vinyl wrapping, but with texture. That's the way I see it. Man, I like opened a door on another car on like Sunday and I felt, and it was like a Tesla. So it was like Sentry mode. So like the guy got the notification as soon as I did that. And I was like, oh my gosh. I wrote a little note saying like, hey, I scratched your car. Call me. Text me before you call me because I won't pick up people's numbers if I don't know them. He never called, so thank you. Yeah, that's true. Not all people who drive Teslas are. No, that's just like that. That's true. Yeah, like, we shouldn't judge a book by its cover, right? I know a lot of people who own Teslas that are awesome people, including my dad. Anybody still working on this? All right. Anybody need help? Okay, I'm gonna give you all another 2 minutes. So try to finish this by 3:18, and when we're done, we're gonna go to this one over here. It's just good to know, y'all. Even if you scratch a car a little bit, if you don't leave a note, it counts as a hit and run. So if there's especially with Teslas, if you like scratch their car, just leave a note. Because they decide to prosecute you, like that counts as a hit and run, and now it's like almost a felony. Because like the scratch I made, it was really, really small and not noticeable. And I'm not gonna lie, I was debating like, oh, should I not? And I was like, you know what? Like, it's the right thing to do. You know, the right thing to do is not always easy, but at least it's always right. And I'd rather end my in the end of my life, I would rather think of myself as a decent human being than like, not saying people who like don't leave the note are not decent human. That I think that really depends on a lot of things, but I just don't want it in the back of my head. I'd rather pay the $100 to fix the scratch than like have a hit and run and also be somebody who does that. Okay, let's go to this one next. I'm going to show you how to blur the background, but not the character. By the way, just so I get a little bit of feedback, am I moving at a good speed? Anybody think it's too fast? Okay, like just let me know. And if you're shy about it, you can just tell me during break time or something. Like, or you can like email me and just tell me to check my email. It's usually what I tell people. Okay. Here's what I want everybody to do is I want y'all to go ahead and grab this and go ahead and go ahead and duplicate this. To duplicate a layer, you're going to click and drag it to the new layer button and it'll duplicate that layer in exactly the way it is. So click and drag your layer to the new layer button. The new layer button will be the box with the plus. And you should have two of the same layer. You should have layer one and layer one copy. Oh, sure. Yeah, of course. So you're just going to grab your layer one layer and just click and drag it to like the new layer button, and it should make a copy. Also, just so you all know, all the tools I'm teaching y'all are for digital painting. So if you want to learn more about like photo editing, I recommend to retake this class, but as an elective during the semester, or take a photography class that like does that stuff. But like I'm gearing it towards illustration. So all the tools y'all use are the tools I use when I like digital paint. All right. Anybody still need to work on that? Okay, here's what I want y'all to do. I want y'all to go ahead and go to filter, blur, and then Gaussian blur. Filter, blur, and Gaussian blur. Gaussian blur is going to be your friend when you want to blur stuff. I don't use the normal blur. I use Gaussian blur. Anyone still need me to wait before I click on this? Okay, so Gaussian blur basically uniformly blurs your image, kind of like that. I would like everyone to basically set it at a level, maybe kind of sort of like this. So I did 8 pixels. So it's pretty blurry. Anybody still need to work on this part? Okay, I want to show you a new trick. So I'm going to teach you how to use a mask. What is a mask? I want everybody to grab, it works better if you have a pen, but if you don't, that's okay. You can use your mouse. I want everybody to go to layer 1, the blurry one, okay? And on the very bottom over here, there's a box with the circle. I'll leave my mouse on top of it so you all can see where it is. But go ahead and click on that, and you should make a mask layer. So it's right here, and it should make a mask layer. This is what a mask layer looks like. So it's a chain with a white box. So click on that, but make sure it's on your layer that you blur. So the copy layer. By the way, y'all, in case you didn't know, you can actually put your mouse over these like icons, and you can always watch a quick video on how to use it. So if my instructions are not clear and you've asked me for help and I'm still not clear, there's always those videos. Anybody still need to make a mask? Okay, I'm going to teach everyone how to use a mask right now. So to use a mask, so what is a mask? A mask is a tool that allows you to hide and reveal things. Okay, so it doesn't delete, it hides. For example, so I'm just going to move this to the side. If I use a mask and I want to mask out the top left part, I can color it and it'll hide it. But if I want to reveal it, I can reveal it again. You see that, right? So it doesn't get rid of my image, it just hides certain parts of it. Does that kind of make sense, everyone? Anybody like super confused? Okay, so how do you hide and how do you reveal? So the easiest way for me to think about this is, you see this little icon here? The circle is a hole because they're hiding that part of the white box. When you go to your mask layer, so first and foremost, you have to click on your mask layer. So you see if I click on these layers, you see how I can alternate between them? You all see that, right? You want to click on your mask layer and you have to make sure your chain is on, okay? Because you want to like chain the mask, or you want to link the mask to the layer, right? That's like what's important. Now, when you select the mask layer, black hides things. So if I use black and I color, it hides it. But if I use white, it brings it back. Anybody have any questions? Okay, so here's what I want everyone to do. Click on your mask layer, and I want everybody to select your brush. Also, brush is B for brush, E for eraser. That's probably the easiest thing to remember. Did everybody select their brush? Anybody need more time? For your brush, I would like you to go to the very top left, go to General Brushes, and I want you to select your soft round with pressure. This will allow you to have a soft edge brush, and it will allow you to control the amount of opaqueness that you would like with pen pressure. If you don't have pen pressure because you don't have a pen, that's okay. You can still do this assignment. You just have to use your mouse. You just won't have pen pressure. So on the very, very top left here, you want to go to your brush tool. On the very top left, there's a drop-down box next to like, it should look like a shape with a number underneath. And under General Brushes, you can select Soft Round Brush. So these are going to be your brushes, y'all. So if you ever want to select your brushes, this is where you can go. Anybody know what the best brush is? Which one? Yeah, the default brush, your round brush. This round brush is the best brush. If you don't know how to paint with this brush, you need to know how to do it. Okay, like I will say right now, there is no magic brush that's going to make you a better painter. Like I've seen it a lot. A lot of people think like the moment they get like someone's brushes, they're going to paint exactly like them. That's not true. Painting requires you to know your fundamentals of 2D design and art. So you need to understand the process of painting traditionally so that you can apply it to digital. You know, so it requires practice. if anything, brushes help with style, right? It makes you like, it gives you a certain style, but it's not going to help with improving your painting, at least not by that much. Okay, once you've chosen that brush, I want you to go ahead and grab black, go to the mask layer, and I want you to just erase the parts or mask out the parts where the character is so that it reveals them, and you're going to leave the rest of it blurry. If you accidentally erase too much, you're going to go back to white and you're going to color it in with white. And you can use your brackets to change the size. But once you have something kind of like this, so y'all can see before and after, once y'all have something like this, you're finished. You put your name in the front. There we go. When you're finished again, you can save this. I'm just going to go over and check up on everyone because I know the masking part can be kind of tricky. Anyone need help? The mask button. So now it's going to provide mask. You see it like box that it's selected. Test it out. So, click on here. Now it's on layer. It's just here. Go ahead and select black. Go ahead and grab your pick. Go up here. Double check. So this is the wrong one. Go ahead and make this bigger. You want it with opacity because that way you have like opacity. So opacity will grab your stylus. Use this to make your brush bigger and smaller. Just go ahead and go with black. Just color the areas inside of it. Should there we go. You'll see it starts off order that. So let's talk about digital painting and blurring a little bit. How many of y'all like to blur in your digital illustrations and paintings? Anybody? Okay, awesome. So who knows? So there's two reasons why you can blur. The first one is because it's your style. Okay, I hate using that as an excuse, but sometimes it really is just the way people like to do things, right? And that's okay because that's your own voice. But try not to use that excuse too much because it can like come to quick story. I used to have a teacher. I won't say his name, but he was one of the big. He was a big Disney guy. He worked on some backgrounds for Pinocchio, actually, from what I remember. Long story short, it was a background painting class, and he was arguing with the student, and he was one of those teachers that everybody knew was kind of hardcore, like there's always like one teacher at every school that's the hard teacher, right? So everybody knew he was the hard teacher, and he was arguing with the student, and we were just all listening because like when he's mad, he's really mad, you know? And like the students started saying like, he was like, oh, you got to fix this, and this. And the students like, no, like, I think I did it this way because of this and this way because of this. And then like, they kept going back and forth. And finally that student was like, that's just my style. And you know what he said? He said, I didn't know suck was a style. And everybody was like, oh, and yeah, it kind of sucked for that student because he shouldn't have said that. He should have just been open-minded. But there's an actual technical reason for using blur in a painting. Anybody know that reason? Like, when do you use blur in an illustration? Yes.
or or basically similar to the.
You are the first person who has ever answered that. Yeah, seriously. Yeah, that's the exact answer. Blur is a camera technique and a video technique. For example, you all know Sam does arts, right? So if you look at his art, it's a lot of these like portraits of like these like characters, but they use like blur. And it's because it's supposed to emulate that these are Instagram influencers taking pictures. So it's supposed to emulate that someone took these people with the photograph, right? But if you look at an actual painting, like Richard Schmidt, paintings don't blur, they have soft edges. You see that, right? It's not a blur. You can see there's smears and smudges, you know? So when you're painting something and you wanted to make it a painting, there's a quote, I forgot who said it, but make a painting a painting. Okay, that's the quote. Make it a painting. You're not trying to make it a photograph, you're trying to make it a painting. What does a painting look like? Right? It's not just a render, right? There's a specific look, feel, and texture to paintings. But when you try to make things feel like they're from a photograph or a video, instead of smudging, you can, oh, this is a study, but instead of smudging, you can use a blur tool. This one's not as blurred. That one's actually more painted in. But back to this one here, you can use a blur to kind of emulate that sort of feel. So that's just kind of a good tip for like illustration is like, if you want to make it feel like you're like filming somebody in the scene, then you use blur. But if you want to make it look like a painting, then you smudge and soften edges. But excellent work. Anybody else? Anybody have any questions about that? Anybody still working on this one over here? Nice. Okay, let's go to number 9. How many of y'all like Photoshop more than Illustrator? How many of y'all like Illustrator more? One person? Oh, yeah, I think it really depends. Like some people, for me, like Illustrator is really fun once you get a workflow, but it's really tricky if you're, most people I know like come from a very organic background of like artwork. So Photoshop's very organic, so it matches like the way they like to do things. But if you are into like graphic design and stuff, Illustrator works really well because it's very, very methodical in process, you know, so it's very mechanical. But yeah, most people like Photoshop a little more. Okay, so we're gonna add some rain. Okay, I'm gonna show you how to use motion blur. Now, motion blur is really cool. Just to show y'all really quick, if I go to filter, blur, and motion blur, I can actually blur this and make it feel like it's in motion. So if I like increase the distance, you see, it makes it feel like it's in motion, and I actually change the angle of these things too to create motion. But that's generally what motion blur does. So why don't y'all just play around with it really quick, actually. So go to filter, blur, and motion blur, and don't save anything, but just like mess around with it, yeah? So just like add more distance, change the angle, just kind of play around with it really quick. All right, anybody still need time to mess around with it? Okay, just cancel it for now. I want y'all to make a new layer. And what I would like y'all to do is, so I'm going to show y'all how I make rain, but I'm not going to be too picky about it as long as it looks pretty similar. So I want everybody to grab a brush tool and go ahead and grab a hard round brush. This is my favorite brush, by the way, hard brown brush. Anyone still need to select this? Okay, if you have a stylus, you can use a stylus. If you don't want to use a mouse, you can use a mouse. But what I want y'all to do is just make it look like snow first. And do it on a new layer. Do it on a new layer. Make sure it's on a different layer. So just add a whole bunch of them. And try to make it random. I think like the number one thing people do that looks really awkward is they make everything evenly spaced. Like that's not how rain looks like. Rain is really chaotic. Right? Everything in the world is pretty chaotic. But we as humans, we have this natural tendency to make things like equally spaced and consistent because we're just used to it. So it actually takes a little bit of like effort to be like random. So like every time I make like three dots, I look at the three, and if they're really equal to each other, I make like one that's closer, one that's further. So that way it's like really, really random. So kind of like this. You don't need to add too much, but at least fill up like the corners and like just fill up like each quadrant of like the image like a little bit. So it doesn't have to be a lot. Something kind of like this. So I'll give you all like a minute to do that. How many of y'all are still making these dots? Okay, I'm going to show y'all a trick because this is how you can make rain a little bit more realistic. I want you to make a duplicate of your rain layer and just use your transform tool and just like rotate it. So that way you have two layers of rain and they're like a little bit different than each other. It works even better if your second layer is smaller dots, but that's okay. We'll do that later. We can do that like when we actually paint or something. We just learn the tool for now. So make a copy and then rotate it. Anyone still working on that? Okay, when you're done, you're going to go to each of them and go to a motion blur. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and angle them both slightly differently. So one's going to kind of look like this. So you see I up the distance quite a lot. You see that, right? And then for the other layer, we're going to do the exact same thing, but we're just going to angle it a little bit differently. So I'm just going to offset it. Oh, too much. You just offset it a little bit. And then we're going to do a little bit less. Actually, no, we can do a little bit more. So a slightly different, kind of like that. And when you're done, you should have something that kind of sort of looks like rain. So you see two layers. One that's like thinner, one that's a little bit less thin. So I made the motion a little stronger in one and like a little less on the other. But when you have something that looks like this, you can save this and submit it. You're good to go. What else do we have left? Oh, 9/11. Okay, got it. When y'all are done, you can open up 10, 11, and 13. Actually, you know what? Yeah, we'll do 10, 11, and 13. I think we'll be done with 10, 11, and 13 today, and that's it. If we're not, that's okay. We're gonna do more on like tomorrow. So we just continue where we left off. Tomorrow, we're gonna start doing digital drawing though. So again, today, like we do need the styluses, but if you don't have them, most of the assignments are okay with that. Tomorrow, you definitely need them. We have to like trace, we're gonna like draw flowers and like paint spheres, things like that. And also, just so I know, who's still working on the rain thing? Anybody need me to wait before we move on? Anybody need like a breather? We can do like a minute. Okay, well, if we're good, save this and go ahead and open up. Let's do number 11 first because it's a little bit quicker. So go ahead and jump to number 11. We might do these out of order. All right, anybody still need to open this? Okay, this one's really easy. I want y'all to go ahead and select any face of your choice to start off with. I'm just going to start on the top left. We have to do all of them, so you pick whichever one you want first. And when you're done, go to filter, and I want y'all to go to filter gallery. There we go, filter gallery. I don't use filters a lot, but if you are a graphic designer or you're doing something that requires a lot of like VFX with your painting, this can be a really fun tool to use. Man, when I was a classmate here at Cal State Fullerton, when I was a student, um, I caught another student. I was their classmate. I caught them using a filter over other people's work and submitting it. Isn't that terrible?
That's just the precursor to
It is, yeah. It's like the precursor to AI art. I was so mad too because I was so impressed with her work. I even asked her, "How did you make this?" And she said that I drew it hand by hand. And the way I found out was I was doing a research paper and I found the painting from the actual artist and I reported it. I was really, really upset. It is. And to make matters even worse, this person did it a second time. And the second time I reported it again because I knew it was that time I knew for sure it wasn't that person's. But yeah. Uh man, I think she just got a 0 for that assignment, which is like really mostly a slap on the wrist. But I'll just say for now, this person's not a good artist, and I don't think they ever will be. So their work has not improved since I've last seen it. All right. So I want you to go to filter and then filter gallery. Once you do that, you are presented with a whole bunch of filters that you can utilize. And there are settings on the right-hand side that allow you to like adjust what you want to see and how the filter works. Now go ahead and play around with the filters, but something I want to show y'all is you can actually add more filters down here. So a lot of graphic designers, what they like to do is they'll create really, really cool filters this way by combining multiple ones together. And I'll be honest, I'm not very good at this because I don't really, oh, that's scary. I don't really like use this a lot because like I don't play around with effects this much. But in terms of illustration, some people do use filters to help them out. Like for example, some of the Mandalorian concept art, what they do is they paint everything out and then they photo bash some stuff and then they put a filter over it to unify the style. You know? So that could be a way to use it. For me, I like to use this filter quite a lot when I'm painting. This help. I usually will have a reference that looks like this. So that way I kind of know what kind of shapes I have to like hit with my painting. And then from there, I just use a photo reference to do all the details. So this one's called Cutout. I really like Cutout for that reason. You see, if you use Cutout, it kind of gives you a very simplified version of like your photo. That can be really useful for painting, like studying paintings. But what I want y'all to do for this assignment is just to give each of these a different filter. Oh, that's cool. You see, accented edge, cutout plus accented edges makes each of the parts like what is it? Like what is it? Outline. That's kind of cool. So you see, you can make really interesting effects this way. You know, I think when we're done with this one, we'll just call it a day because I don't want to I don't want to rush. So really quickly, y'all, I'm just gonna like kind of wrap things up here, and y'all can finish this up and head home after. So tomorrow we're just gonna continue this. Our goal, we should be almost finished with the packet tomorrow. Almost finished, okay? We should be completely finished by Monday or Wednesday, depending on how long our critique is. Like, we don't have that many people, we'll probably finish on Monday. If we have like a lot of people, we'll probably finish on Wednesday. After the critique for the rest of the semester, I think we have like one or two lectures left. And then I'm just gonna demo project 2. So I'll think of an environment to paint and I'll just paint it out for y'all and I'll show y'all what I'm gonna give y'all my brushes. I'm gonna go over how to upload them. And we're basically just going to digital paint and just work on project 2 and these for the rest of the semester. So it'll be a pretty chill semester from here on out, but y'all need the time to actually do the painting because I think vector takes practice, but digital painting, I think, takes even more practice. You know, like with vector, at least you can trace over your image. But with like digital painting, like you have to learn how to render. It's all the fundamentals of traditional painting, but using digital as a medium. So you need to get used to it. So tomorrow we finish most of this. Monday we finish it up and critique. If we don't finish it Monday, we finish it Wednesday. And then for the rest of the semester, we just like work on project 2 demos. Anybody have any questions about today before I let y'all go? All right, well, if you don't need me anymore, you're welcome to head out, y'all. If you want to stay behind to ask questions, you're welcome to. But otherwise, I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of the day. Stay safe, and I will see y'all tomorrow.